What's going on, Kung Fu Crew? Got a brand new video for you today. For those that did not know, there are two new gadgets that just got dropped in Brawl Stars, one for Rico and one for Sandy. I'm super excited that each of these brawlers got a brand new gadget, and I think they're gonna be pretty fun. Be sure to like and subscribe and check out my thoughts and opinions on these gadgets and how they'll play a part in the new Brawl Stars meta. Without further ado, let's get on to the video. Alright, going ahead and getting into our first gadget, it is Sandy's new gadget called Sweet Dreams. Now I can see this one totally being a really helpful one for the game in certain modes. I don't think it's necessarily going to take Sandy to the next level in modes that maybe Sandy isn't as strong in, such as ones like Bounty and things like that. However, for ones like Brawl Ball, even on a map like this, I could see it being super helpful. So essentially the new gadget is similar to Frank's Super. You attack people with a stun, and essentially they fall asleep for about 1.5 seconds, which is super helpful, especially for things like Brawl Ball where you're trying to score a goal maybe and you need to put the enemy in a tough spot. We're going to go ahead and throw our super down right there, give us a little protection. But it also applies to multiple people at once, so if they're all bundled up in a group, it can also really affect them too. So I could totally see that playing a factor. In like hot zone maps where there might only be like one zone or the enemy is more likely to be like in a cluster, Ring of Fire, which Sandy's already pretty strong at, could be a pretty good example of that. So I could see this being pretty strong. We're gonna try and show it off a little bit and get some value though out of it. For example, like I'm stuck right here, I can literally just back off now just by popping one gadget. This Tick's also doing a great job at cycling his super. It's not the first of his we've seen. But yeah, I can see this being very useful. Another perk of it too is that Sandy's attack still goes off. So it's stunning and also doing damage exactly like Frank's would. So with all that damage, you can do about 1288 per shot like I'm doing here. And then additionally with that stun, you get an extra shot essentially. So you could totally pop Gadget, hit the enemy one time, put them to sleep for 1.5 seconds while also reloading your regular shot, and then absolutely use 3 more attacks on them. So you can do a little over 5,000 damage just by popping this gadget if you really need to. I'm gonna try and find an opportunity here maybe. I get stunned, but that's okay. I'm gonna push up here. But yeah, it's really good for applying a lot of pressure. I've noticed that if you pop Gadget at certain times, you can absolutely score a goal. And I can see this being really useful in some of the newer modes, like Volley Brawl, for example, where the enemy needs to step on a certain area of the map. And if you stop them from doing that, I mean, there's nothing they can really do. While Sandy doesn't have the most range in a game mode like that, I could totally see it being pretty effective. And unfortunately, we take the L on that one, but that's okay. That is showing off Sandy's brand new gadget, though. I think it's going to be pretty darn helpful in general. Definitely going to be wanting to use it in some combos. I'm curious to see if it's used at all this weekend in monthly, so we'll just have to see and find out. On to the next one. Alright, our second gadget is Rico's brand new Bouncy Castle gadget. Now essentially this one is a healing gadget that Rico can pop to use to gain himself a little extra HP. So we all know that Rico probably needed a nice new gadget. And I think this one's pretty good. Definitely not as strong as I thought it was upon hearing about it a few weeks ago. I think one of the biggest things that I definitely didn't realize, and I'm sure others didn't, is that the healing has to be done off bounce shots. So for example, if I just straight up shot Frank, wouldn't heal me at all. It has to bounce off a wall. And additionally, it cannot charge off a super shot either. That was one thing I found interesting and kind of weird. So it's still good. I think it's going to have far less utility. In my mind, one of the best ways this was going to be able to use is if somebody like Primo jumped on Rico and he could just pop his heal gadget and just heal off it, but you have to use it to bounce off a wall. So I don't think we're going to have any luck with that. I still think this makes him a better brawler, not necessarily any more meta than where he was at. I think it'll depend on the map, of course. There are maps where Rico thrives in that this will help with a lot of walls and won't make much of a difference, but I don't think this necessarily adds any utility to him or makes him anywhere significantly better compared to, like, say Sandy's gadget, where I think that could be like a way to score goals and things like that. I just don't see it being a game changer, if you will. Still really cool. Definitely an upgrade to the other gadget, which was already not super strong, pretty average at best. But yeah, I'm kind of excited about this one. At least Rico gets something new. I know I was Team Rico just out of pure curiosity for the new gadget and to see how it did. And I'm not disappointed necessarily, but I certainly don't think it necessarily makes Rico significantly stronger by any means. So all my Rico fans, sorry to disappoint, but I don't think it's necessarily going to put him in the top 5 or like top 10 kind of category, unfortunately. Which makes me a little sad. I was kind of hoping we'd see a little bit more of a Rico meta. I still think he's a solid mid-tier, but I don't think the gadget necessarily adds enough in really any game mode to justify him being significantly better. Like I said, it's good, don't get me wrong. The heals are nice. Being able to bounce off walls and just like heal like this is super convenient, but like I said, you can't use it with super shots. You can't just straight up shoot an enemy like I did that Frank there. There are like conditions with it, so I think it's just a little bit more difficult to use than I would like. But with that said, that wraps up Rico's gadget. Alright crew, that about wraps it up for this video. Let me know down in the comment section below what you all think about these 2 new gadgets. I think Sandy's is going to be really strong and a big possibility of being a game changer, and Rico's just a solid mid-tier, definitely better than his other one. But let me know what you all think below. I'd really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed, and thanks for making it this far if you did, and we'll see you all in the next video.